Time to introduce one of our new friends. We caught up with her a couple of times in 2020, but she'll be basically along with us for the ride for 2021 with our No Sweat Tech. Her name is Verena Franz from Grand Aids. Verena, thank you so much for coming in today. You are going to get us to fall in love with technology, not to be afraid of it, and maybe just use it a little bit more effectively. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, that's basically it. I think if you know your tech and you know how to use it, it's not scary at all anymore.
Well, I've got 10-year-olds in our family, so they teach me how to do it. So we probably can be a little bit better than that, can't we?
Probably, but they also use it differently. Like, I think you don't have to know everything about the device. You have to know what you want to do with it. I mean, keep on top of what it is capable of, but decide if that's useful to you or not.
Fair enough. All right, well, we're going to start this week with the basics and I guess spending the right amount of time on our screens, maybe learning to sort of put them aside and having, as you said before we started today, making our phones work for us, not us working for them.
That's correct. Yeah. So I call this area sort of digital well-being. And I think it's so important, especially now after lockdown and COVID and us being so much on our devices, to actually use them to serve us and not to serve our phones or tablets or computers.
So I would imagine that being on your phone 2 hours in bed before you sleep is probably not the right way to go.
Don't even say it's the worst thing you can do for your sleep, even for your hormone levels, if you don't have certain settings on the lighting on your screen. But I'll touch on that in a few minutes.
Well, let's start at the start and I guess basic 101, where should we be heading, Verena?
What I want to touch on around digital well-being is that you should use your phone so it doesn't disturb your natural rhythms and it doesn't take your focus away of your day and take you out of what you were doing at work because there was a ping and then 10 minutes later you're like, oh, I was actually writing an email that was important and I've just checked my Instagram instead.
And that's something that we're all guilty of because you'll be in the middle of doing something, even if it's trying to get to sleep, and all of a sudden there might be a message on the phone and we run off with that. So in your line of work, how do you get people to get their minds in that right way of thinking that we can sort of park our phone, the messages in the right place?
So what I do when I set up people's phones, because I really personalize phones to the needs of a specific person, is I really go into the notification settings and I make sure only essential notifications come through and everything else is when you decide to look at your phone and not when it dictates you to look at it. Because it's so hard. If you heard your phone vibrate, how hard is it to then actually not check? Did someone write back?
You check, absolutely. So I actually got a couple of friends that actually have notifications turned off for messages, and I'll apologise. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that message from 2 hours ago. I've got them turned off. So maybe they're sort of heading in the right direction.
Oh, definitely. So the 4 things that I wanted to speak on is to use the screen time apps on your phones, to go into your notification settings, to not have your phones in the bedroom or in a specific way that is more healthy than with all the notifications, and how to deal with emails at work.
So let's do work emails, because I know I'm guilty of that as well.
Yeah.
11 o'clock, I'll be doing it's almost sleep time. I'm already in bed. I've gone through the social media and I think I'm sort of bored because I'm looking for something that's not there. Then you go onto the work emails.
Well, it's because your phone has changed how you get kind of like serotonin, like the hormones that give you like a buzz. It's sort of like excitement. So it grabs your attention more than other things. Reading would be boring in comparison because it doesn't give you instant gratification. But for work emails, what I sort of think is use the mode on your phone that is like focus mode or do not disturb, and schedule it. I literally have that on my work phone. I do not receive phone calls after 6 and I only receive them from 8. And I still get important phone calls because if you call twice, it'll come through. And you know when it's important, you'll try twice, right? So you know the important calls will come through. And for emails, I would say don't actually check them in detail before you start your work. The first hour at work in the morning should be what you really want to have done today before other people can intrude with your plans. Like set a timer, start like 10 a.m., 11 a.m. is the first time you're actually checking your emails and you have half an hour to respond to them all. So you have to make your schedule. Don't let your schedule be made by others.
I think that's a good place for us to start because, again, like you said, have your notifications, and take the time to set them up. So if it's emails or phone calls, have it in that night mode where it doesn't happen, and maybe as well just have things scheduled that are important to you.
Yeah.
Very quickly before we head on to our scams of the week, which you've got some of.
Yeah, I do.
All right, so always plenty of scams around, and the scammers get very, very good at basically trying to deceive us. A couple of things that have been out there at the moment that people are bringing to your attention.
Yeah, and I'm actually a bit shocked at those, and I think they're really mean. So watch out for the latest government impersonation scams, and it's all around COVID. So what's happening is you'll receive an email that looks like it's from the Australian Government Department of Health, and it's trying to give you information about COVID and tips, and then you open a link, and that is gonna install a bot on your computer, or is phishing. Phishing is a word for trying to get your personal data, and that is your name, your address, but also your banking information. And the other one is that it's sending you text messages and emails that says, we're offering to help you with applications for financial assistance. And I think that's the really mean part, because there is a lot of desperate people now. And you'd be like, oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah, I'll click that link. And it looks legitimate to start with. The logo is stolen off the internet. So
anything that looks a bit dodgy probably is, but again, it's they get so good at just making the actual emails look legit.
Basically how you avoid it is check the actual email address it comes from and see if it has the gov.au bit, or if you didn't ask for it, it probably isn't legit well.
And maybe as well, if you find something that it looks a bit dodgy like that, or if you want some more information, use a legitimate source, ring up their line or contact them via the web or something.
So ScamWatch, which is also a government site, you should check that one out, scamwatch.gov.au. They say you go directly to the website, so open your browser, type in mygov.au, and then search for the information rather than opening a link that was sent to you that you didn't ask for.
Pretty sad that we have to do a scams of the week, but I'm sure there'll be something brand new when we catch up with you in a fortnight. From Grand Aids, looking at making tech a little bit better for us, digital for dummies, I guess.
Yeah, you could say that.
Verena Friends, thanks so much. We'll catch you in a fortnight.
Thanks.
2NURFM, a broadcast service of the University of Newcastle.